we're already launched into our main topic here, which is your ultimate morning routine, how to start your day. You can say like a champion, you start your day on the right foot, start your day living your most authentic life.
Start your day in connection with your vision.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What are the things that you need to do in order to do that? How? Because we all know there are things that tickle us, that'll get us to do things, and we're not all alike. So we have to kind of figure it out. So we have to experiment with different things. There are many, many different ways that you can create a morning routine. I know because I've done a lot of them. Right. And in the process of doing these routines over and over again, or different types of routines, sometimes I would be doing like spiritual morning routines or physical morning routines or health morning routines, or, and then out of all of that, I would learn from my experience what really worked well for me. Because that's what's going to work good for you is what you love, what you enjoy doing, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've got some examples here of some well-known people to varying degrees and their morning routines. It's different for everyone.
Yeah.
And I know some people will just have a morning routine that they do forever. There's just their thing that they do, and they're very committed to that specific elements. I know with me, I like variety, so I'll have some aspects of my morning routine, and then they evolve over time, or I'll lean into one particular practice over others. Oprah Winfrey starts her day with a 20-minute meditation, followed by exercise, a gratitude practice, and then setting intentions, which she believes centers her mind and boosts her overall well-being. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, you're probably familiar with, kicks off his mornings as early as 4 a.m., and he's very much into physical. He does a workout like cardio and weightlifting. That's something I would not do first thing in the morning. But this discipline, he says, builds both mental and physical resilience and allows him to keep up on top of his busy schedule. Carly Lloyd, who I admit I wasn't that familiar with because I don't follow soccer, but she's a renowned soccer player. She uses visualization as part of her morning routine to mentally prepare for games, often imagining herself scoring goals and playing well. That's a practice that contributed to her World Cup performance back in 2015. Tim Ferriss, author of The 4-Hour Workweek and other things, he has 5 morning rituals. One is he makes his bed because he just thinks that discipline is very helpful. But making his bed, meditation, hanging from a pull-up bar for a few moments. That's sort of a physical thing that he does that anchors him. And he has some kind of special tea called titanium tea, something of his own making that he drinks. And then he journals for 5 minutes to list things he's grateful for and reflect on his thoughts. So those are, according to my research, his 5 morning rituals. Tony Robbins, somebody I've admired and followed for many years, uses a 10-minute morning ritual, is what he calls it, priming. This includes 3 stages. It's deep breathing, where he does intense deep breathing to get his blood circulating. Then he visualizes moments of gratitude, and then he focuses on 3 goals that he wants to accomplish. This ritual is rooted in creating a heightened, purposeful state of mind, ideal for tackling the day ahead. So you can see those are all varied. These are all successful people who use morning routines. So the question is, do you have one? Do you currently have a morning routine? And what elements, what practices are in yours? Or maybe what practices would you like to, you think would work for you? We're going to do a long list here that we're just going to touch on some of them just to give you some ideas. But I'd like to know, what are your thoughts on it? Have you used them?
Are you using them? Are you consistent with them? Do they change over time?
How does it help you if you have tried a morning routine? I mean, this is something that ideally you do, well, obviously in the morning, but it could be the first thing you do, or it could be sometime you do, if you have responsibilities of getting the kids off to school, maybe it's something you do after that. Sometimes you can even start them before you get out of bed, before your feet even hit the floor.
Absolutely.
Right? Or just soon after, depending on your family life and all that. But what is that for you?
So my morning routine changes all the time. But there have been things that have been consistent. So there is this, I have a daily inspiration page. And this daily inspiration page is kind of where I begin. It lets me know at my set point where I'm at, like how I'm feeling. I have a big 3 for the day, 3 things that I commit to doing before the end of the day. And then it has some other things like people I'm going to reach out to, just other things that are important to me, like little things that I just check off. And what this does is it really helps me to get started with my day in a good way, right? To get actually focused in my mind. I've recognized that also my morning routine starts the night before.
Good
I
point.
have to start preparing myself for when I wake up in the morning. Like, what are the first things that I'm going to be doing when I get up in the morning? Because if I don't have that anchor, I will easily get distracted. This will come in and will totally distract me. And then the next thing I know, I'm now lost in the woods. I'm having a great time. However, I'm not getting the things done that I need to get done in order to advance my vision forward, my dreams forward, and this kind of thing. So for me, having that piece of paper, something that I check, and I'm like a paper person. I like writing still. I'm very much into that whole experience of journaling and writing. And so the daily pages for me is one thing that, and I've even done a video on my YouTube channel about them.
It's also one of the tools that comes with the personal transformation matrix in the activate stage of that. Jacqueline says, yes, her morning routine has changed over the years. I currently start with spiritual readings, listen to Bob's affirmations, usually the music ones, which I love hearing, 10 minutes, begin to organize my mind and materials for the day's work. That's a good one. Crystal says, my routine before getting out of bed, I feel grateful and lately say it out loud. Meditate 10 to 20 minutes, then do stretches near the bed, then out of bed with a bounce. Oh, you like that? Bouncing out of bed. And you can, if you're short on time, just do shortened versions of these things. Like, oh,
Skip it.
I don't have time to meditate. Do you have 5 minutes to do it?
Yeah, don't skip it.
Having that, and then the routine part of it is what really kind of locks it in. At least you're sending a signal to your mind, to your body, your muscle memory, whatever. This is something that I do. And yeah, I have some other obligations, but I'm still going to at least spend a couple of minutes just to keep the consistency going.
I have a morning meditation that you do while you're still in bed beneath your covers.
Yep.
And so it's on my YouTube channel. I have to say, it's an amazing meditation. And it really, when I do listen to it, when I remember to not get out of my bed and stay in bed and listen to that meditation, it is so powerful. I take you through this whole experience of how to create a really beautiful day. And you get to envision it in your mind first while you're deep underneath your covers, snuggled warm inside. It's so good.
It is good.
It's such a good one. So I'll be sure to provide a link in the description below. But yeah, so that's something that you can do is listen to something before you even get out of bed.
So I guess there was a time change in the UK. Adele says, hey, everyone, time change here. I forgot you'd be at this. I might need to update my UK time things for our upcoming some events that we have. Because there used to be like 6 hours difference between where we are in Central Time. So maybe it's one way. I have to figure out what the difference is now. Deanne says, my routine is consistently inconsistent.
I've been there too.
Hey, at least you're consistent with
Right?
your inconsistency. So there's something.
I know. Sometimes, yeah, getting into a routine can sometimes be difficult.
Crystal added on to what she said earlier. If I go also into the office, I do a walking, I guess her office for work, I do a walking meditation to transportation, journaling 3 or 4 days a week, mostly in the evening. Yeah.
That's great.
So we're talking about morning routines, but yeah, if you can swing it, having an evening routine before you go to bed is a great.
We'll talk about that in another section.
It's a bookend effect. You start the day strong, and then you end it also with intention.
Evening routines and rituals are really powerful as you're preparing to go to sleep.
And again, it doesn't have to take up a lot of time. You might think, if I don't spend 15 minutes on this, I'm not going to get anything out of it. But it just spends any time that you have available and watch the effect and the impact that it has on your life, just doing this simple thing. Just stay in your routine, even if it's an abbreviated version. Michelle says, I have a routine with my animals. I can't step off that path too much, but if I could get up an hour earlier, I could work my meditation and Pilates stretch I've also started with morning gratitude.
Perfect.
And even if you don't have a full hour, can you do 20 minutes of that?
Well, then, Crystal was saying she was stretching in bed. You can get some exercise that way. How do you get around what you're already committed to?
Jacqueline says the universe provides all the time that we need in the day to get completed what we. So I must keep this thought because it's very easy to feel like I ran out of time. Yeah, right?
Absolutely.
I do that too. I'm a big. I get very anxious, and I don't like it when I run late for an event, especially if it's something that we're hosting. But even if I'm just an attendee somewhere, yeah, I like to be on time. So when I look at the clock and go, we're going to be late. We need to keep, So I get a little anxious there. So I'm very aware of time.
Talking about the morning, morning in your bed.
Brandy says every morning I start with Bible devotional. Then I write down 8 abundance things I'm grateful for. Then my intention for the day. Sign and date it. Oh, that's nice.
Very nice, like Brandy. I love that.
You're committing to it. All right. Difference for 2 more weeks. Let's see here. Queen Opatra. I love that. The YouTube name. It's hard to get out of the warm covers when it's cold out. I will try that meditation before getting up. Yeah, so if you're reluctant to get up and start your day while you're still under the covers, that Pooki meditation is the perfect one. Okay, let's see here. What's a good evening routine? Well, we're going to focus on mornings, I guess, for right now, but maybe we will make that the topic of another.
We're talking about this for the next 2 months.
This
whole thing about how to activate yourself for an awesome 2025. So we'll be covering all these little things each week. We're going to dedicate it to something that speaks to how to step into 2025 and in your best, as the best version of yourself,
Which means focusing on it during 2024.
Right.
The remaining months.
So we're saying, wow, let's get started now. Why wait? Why delay your joy? Why delay your happiness? Why delay your success?
Let's just touch on some of the elements of a morning routine, because you can pick there's like 20 some odd things here. You're not going to do all of these things. You got to find what works for you at any given time. But here's some things on the list. Wake up at a consistent time. I know we've gotten out of that. I think that trip to Japan really, we still have not gotten synced into it.
It is what it is.
I mean, both of us, depending on the day, sleeping later than we usually do. And we both like to get up. I like 7 a.m. for me, but you like even getting up earlier when you get into that groove. So if you can, wake up at a consistent time, but still make sure that you're getting enough sleep. So if you had a late night and you have the ability, you self-employed or whatever, to sleep in, certainly get caught up on your sleep. Don't deprive yourself. I think it's been mentioned a couple of times, hydrate with a glass of water. So yeah, drinking liquids, because your body's gone most of the night without drinking, and so you need to stay hydrated. I take that a step further, and I get a big warm cup of water, and I add a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and then a tablespoon of lemon juice to it, and that's supposed to be beneficial. And
I like that warm.
Yeah, well, I do that warm too. And some people don't. At first, apple cider vinegar, you're not drinking it straight. You're putting it into a glass and shaking it up. So it might taste a little bitter at first, but I like it. And it tastes like
kombucha.
It has that kind of a fermented. We also mentioned gratitude, setting your intentions or goals for the day, looking at the day ahead.
Yep.
And not only just like the practical things like, I got to meet with so-and-so, I got to mow the lawn or whatever. But how do I want to feel today? How am I going to move through this day? The people that I encounter, how am I going to greet them? Am I going to be present or am I going to be distracted? I want to feel good today. I want to look for the good and appreciate the good when I find it.
Yeah. I have, what is the beingness that's going to serve me in reaching my goals today? Committed, inspired.
Yeah, Dell says I'm a night owl, which makes me not a morning person. So you don't have to be a morning person, whatever that means to you do a morning routine just whenever you get up. Some people work second, third shifts or whatever. You might wake up in the afternoon, make that your morning, the start of your day routine, right? Of course, morning affirmations, you would expect us to include that on the list, and many of you are here because you listen to mine and Pooki's. Meditate or mindfulness practice, that's a very common one.
Absolutely.
Not everybody does this, but the breathing exercises, like Tony Robbins, like he does like these really...
It can be part of your morning. Yeah. It can be part of your meditation, the breathing exercise. You can use, there are ways that you can do more than one of these things.
Yeah. And there's all different types of breathing exercises where you like breathe in for 4, hold for 7,
All
exhale
kinds
for
of
8,
methods
whatever.
and processes out
Yeah.
there.
But make sure that you don't like keel over from make sure that that's healthy for you. But yeah, the deep breathing doesn't come with cardio. You can just be sitting still and just fill your lungs
Well,
up.
if you've ever done breath work, it's a powerful
Yeah,
experience.
it's a whole thing onto itself.
Yes, and it's
discipline.
very, very powerful. And you can do meditation through that too. So there's all kinds of things.
It's a really lengthy list here. Again, so I'm going to have to really zip through these just to throw them out there. But journaling, which has been, writing your thoughts down. Visualization, which is different than meditation and affirmations, perhaps, where you just sit there and you really, as if you can picture things in your mind's eye, just see yourself. I think we talked about it last week or during the Path to Prosperity workshop. We're just how the power is seeing that in your mind's eye, seeing yourself being the type of person to having achieved the thing you want to achieve. What does that feel like? I think Joe Dispenza and many other people talk about that.
Right.
Read or listen to inspirational content. Of course, affirmations is one thing, but there's also, you could read a book, listen to a podcast, or watch a video interview, something that inspires and motivates you. I'm often queuing up Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, and the
There's
Hay
a
House.
lot of inspiring work out there, right? Expand your knowledge, expand your awareness, right? Read books, especially things that interest you.
Exercise and stretch.
That's
Pilates
right.
with-
Especially if you're getting older, and we want to stretch that body. The older that we get, the more movement is needed.
Another forms of movement is yoga. There's Tai Chi.
Right?
There's another.
Qigong, so many ways to, these work with activating your energy centers. This is a way of exercising and meditating, right? There are ways that we can do these things. And so, yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, dancing, movement.
Oh, yeah, dancing.
You can just move and meditate through movement, right? It doesn't have to be a structured thing either. It can be something that's very improvisational for you.
Cue up one of our, I think actually, was it Michelle or someone says they often cues up some of our musical affirmation songs or one of our songs and moves to it.
Yeah.
As part of that affirmation.
Absolutely.
Something I don't do that I've heard about, it's either a cold shower or a cold plunge or just splashing cold water on your face too. That's a more subdued version
Well,
of that.
there's all kinds of reasons why you would want to do that. First, jumping into a cold plunge will definitely wake you up. It'll stimulate all of your capillaries and it gets the blood flowing for real. And it's a really intense experience. If you have the opportunity to cold plunge, do it. Because if I could do it every day, I would. And is it pleasant and all that stuff? No, it's freezing. However, what it does for the body, it really helps the body in many, many, many ways. So cold plunging, cold water. Cold plunge is where it's at, though.
One thing we didn't mention, another form of exercise, we mentioned it a Sunday or two back, is the rebounder, that mini trampoline you can put in your home and you just bounce on it. And it's supposed to have all sorts of benefits.
Helps you detox your lymph system.
Yeah.
Yep, lymph drainage, because there's no pump in your lymph system. So when you're jumping up and down, that's what it pumps your lymphs.
And it gives your calves a pretty good workout too.
Yeah, I mean, 2 minutes. You wouldn't think it, but 2 minutes.
That's all.
Really bouncing on that thing.
So you can plan your day. You can review your goals for your life. You can look at your vision board and focus on that. We talked about music. Oh, here's one that I know Pooki would relate to. If you have the ability, if you live in an area, get out in nature, spend time in nature, sit on your deck if you have one, or porch or whatever.
On the earth.
Like grounding. Yeah, that's also on this list too.
That could be a beautiful way, like getting into alignment with the earth as you start your day. That's something that I'm wanting to implement in my mornings. I'm going to put that on my mornings. I'm going to put that on my daily page. Grounding.
Somebody mentioned a devotional earlier, so you could read just inspirational quotes, or if you have a book, a devotional with like a one-page short thing, for thought for the day. And then finally, enjoy a sacred space. So Pooki has a room downstairs that's kind of a meditation room, but you can have your own altar. You could have a top of a cabinet or something with images, items that will ground you and remind you of
So you can also go outside and sit in your chair in the early morning hours with the birds and drum, like lightly drum, to bring in the energy of the morning. You
Yeah.
could do like a ceremony, right? So that, like, some sort of way in which you greet the day. In the morning, that very first sunlight is that pink red sunlight. That's the most powerful light of the day. And it helps us balance our bodies. And so try to get out to where you can get the actual direct rays from the sunlight. So, like, you're not behind a window or getting it like that, where you're actually getting it directly from the sun. Yeah, just
Let it hit your eyeballs without the sun. Look away from it, but open up your eyes and let it hit your eyeball
yeah,
and your
yeah.
skin.
And it does something to our nervous system, you know.
Deanne says, I turn the shower water cold at the end of every shower. I've done that off and on too, just to kind of, it stimulates you, that's for sure. Cold water improves your immune system.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be good for your hair, to lock in moisture. I don't know. Adele says, I 100% recommend grounding.
Yeah, get out on the earth because you're an electromagnetic being and the earth has electromagnetic energy, frequency. And so when you step on the earth, we're walking around with rubber on the bottom of our shoes. It's total insulator. It's totally stopping everything that the earth has to offer. We have grounding sheets. Bob has a grounding mouse pad. You know, there are things that you can do to mitigate, you know, some of the EMFs and whatnot, but also to keep you grounded.
Yeah.